スリートたちのコアの部分を伝える番組スポーツコアが始まりました。この番組ではさまざまなスポーツアスリートにインタビューをしながら彼らのストーリーを紹介し、そのスポーツに対する思いや印象に残っているシーン、大切にしていることなどを伝えていきたいと思います。記念すべき第1回目のゲストは野球選手でシーズン最多セーブ記録を持ち、2017年にはレギュラーシーズン MVP と日本シリーズ MVP を獲得したピッチャーです。野球が好きなあなたなら誰だか分かりましたか？早速見ていきましょ
My name is Denis Sarfate. I am a baseball player, drafted in 2001 by the Milwaukee Brewers in the 9th round. Played it there until 2007, where I got traded to Houston. Played in Houston for 2 months, got traded that offseason to Baltimore, was there until 2010. And that's when I took my talents and my family over to Japan for my next career. I played for the Hiroshima Carp in 2011 and 12. I played for the Seibu Lions in 2013. And from 2014 until currently, I am a member of the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks.
そうなんです。今回は日本のプロ野球の中で最高のクローザーの一人であるデニス・サファテ投手のインタビューをご紹介していきます。サファテ投手はニューヨーク市で育ちましたが、その後アリゾナに移り、高校と大学で素晴らしい野球のキャリアを積みました。そして2001年、ミルウォーキーブルワーズから9巡目でドラフトされ、2006年にメジャーデビューを果たします。その後彼はブルワーズからアストロズ、オリオールズにそれぞれ1年ずつ在籍しました。そしてオリオールズ時代には肩を負傷してしまったんです。怪我からは復帰しましたが、メジャーリーグとマイナーリーグを行ったり来たりという生活でした。ではそんな彼がどんなきっかけで日本に来たのでしょうか。
Ended up going to AAA, and my first practice in AAA, we're playing Old Dominion in a scrimmage game, and I was going to start, and they were kind of just giving me some time to throw. So I remember sitting there warming up, and I felt my shoulder explode in before the game, and I went down, and I thought something happened. Pitching coach comes over, you all right? You still go? And I go, let me check it. I play catch, and ball starts coming out a little bit, and you could, as a pitcher who's been pitching for a long time, you can feel when the ball is coming off your fingers, and I hadn't felt like that in a couple of years. And all of a sudden the game starts. My first pitch is 97, and then 98, then 100, and then they're looking in the dugout like, what just happened? And so what the doctors ended up thinking was that scar tissue finally broke up, because I had that artery get torn. They went in there, had to repair it. And then what happened was they think that maybe during that time, some scar tissue built up and it just kind of restricted my motion. But once that took off, I led the International League in saves with a 2 ERA. And at that point, during that season, Hiroshima had tried to sign me. And the Orioles said no, because they were paying me a lot. And so my agent called the Carp and said, he's a free agent at the end of the year. Save your money. We'll sign with you guys then. And then at the end of the year, we just told the Orioles, please don't put us on the roster. I wanted to go over to Japan and take my time over there. And I remember as soon as the season was over, I drove home. And as I'm driving home, I'm like, next year I'm going to be playing baseball in Japan. It was 11 years ago, but I could still remember walking off the plane, hearing the language, seeing the signs for the first time. I felt like a deer in headlights. Walking down, I finally got to the luggage and ran into Brian Bullington. So I thought that was really cool. Got to see my first teammate. And then as I'm walking through, trying to find our next flight, and here comes my interpreter from the car, Kimmy, and he was just smiling. Obviously, he knew who we were. You got a guy that's 6'5" and one that's 6'4". We kind of stand out, and so he came up to us and introduced himself, and the rest is history. I remember being a little bit scared, nervous. How's it going to be? What's the food going to be like? being away from my wife and my oldest at the time. She was pregnant with our next, but I quickly felt at home. The guys welcomed me very, very graciously, and went right to spring training. So I was in Hiroshima for like 2 days, and then we went right to Nichinan, which you go into Hiroshima, bigger city, and now all of a sudden you're in Nichinan, and you're like, oh, okay, kind of secluded. Uh, and I remember my first breakfast was grandma, they called her, uh, brought out a whole fish. And I remember waking up, it was like 4:30 in the morning, first day of practice, everyone's, pumped up. And I just remember looking at it like, no way, no, I can't. I need some cereal, I need toast. Uh, but yeah, that first year, so many memories of what to expect, what's going to happen, food, train, flight, all that stuff, and to be there 11 years. I thought I was going there for 1 year and done, and to be there for 11 years is something pretty special.
2021シーズンはすでに始まっていますが、サファテ投手は2021年5月の時点ではアメリカにいます。彼は2018年に股関節を負傷し、手術を受けて今懸命にリハビリに取り組んでいます。彼はまだ再びプレーすることを諦めていません。そしてさらに医者はそれがまだ可能であるかもしれないというふうにサファテ選手に語ったそうです。
This has been one of the hardest things that I've had to go through. I'm very blessed and fortunate. In 2019, I spent a lot of time there in Japan trying to rehab. My family was with me, so that was nice. Couldn't get it, in 2020 with the way things were going with COVID and trying to rehab. I still felt pain. So when I had my hip replaced in October, I thought that was it. I thought it was done. I didn't think I had a chance to come back. But then more and more doctors are starting to see, like, you probably can. You're pretty strong. I've gotten stronger. Rehab's tough. I'm still trying to figure things out. I mean, I got titanium in my hip. Uh, I can start to run a little bit. I'm definitely getting stronger each day. I go in there, I do some leg stuff, I do some lower body workouts, and I haven't thrown yet. So I haven't thrown since last July. Yeah, July. So kind of waiting to see how that's going to come about. I'm dealing with some little things that come up here and there where other muscles start to ache because they're not used to working. And it's just been a slow process, but I still, if God wants me to pitch again, I'm going to pitch. And he hasn't closed the door for it yet. The team is optimistic. They know I'm working hard. The one thing I think that's what set up this whole thing is they know I'm not going to quit. They know I'm working hard, and I'm giving it as much as I can. This is the last year of my deal, so I really don't have any other time. And so it's going as good as it could with a guy with a fake hip that's 40 years old.
いやー、彼が健康を取り戻して日本でまた投げる姿を見たいですね。サファテ投手は日本に11年間いました。その中でたくさんの良い思い出もありましたが、彼は私たちと共に辛い体験もしていたんです。
Probably the fondest memory of my time, my first year, such a tragedy in Fukushima and the great earthquake. But I remember going to Sendai the first time after all of that had happened. I remember landing there and just seeing, as we're driving to the hotel, cars stacked on one another. I saw a ship in a rice field. And then it kind of just struck me like we're still playing a game, and all of this is going on. People are missing, but then you really got to see that baseball is the driving force of that country. It's healed a lot through the great earthquake. Like, you could just see baseball brought people that joy where they can kind of forget about the trials and the things that they had going on in their life and go watch a game. Even being hurt last year in 2020, where I was in Japan. I actually went home for a little bit because my wife was sick, came back, and just seeing what baseball was doing to people when they would see us practicing, and it just gave people that morale. And just that good fighting spirit. It was almost like encouraging to them. But that's probably my fondest memory, where I was like, this is not America. Like, this is Japan, where they just went through this awful thing. It was just a memory that I'll never forget. Obviously, game 6 of the Japan series in 2017, We start off, we win the first two, then we win the first one in Yokohama. And that night we're losing, and I go into a losing game, and I'm just thinking, all right, I'll throw an inning tonight, and I'll be ready for game 7. And Uchi hits that home run, and it's like, geez, now I got to go now I got to go 2 innings. This is awesome. Not awesome, but it's awesome because it's like, well, at least we tied it. So I go back out, and that second inning in that game is probably the greatest inning ever, because first batter, Kajitani, little ground ball through the hole on a good pitch. First guy on, no outs. I got the heart of the lineup. I think next was Lopez, then Tsutsugo. So I'm sitting here like, really? I know they're not bunting at least. So I try to pick off Kajitani. I throw the ball in the stands. So now I got a guy on second, no outs. And I'm like, this is turning into a disaster. I end up punching Lopez out. I end up punching Tsutsugo out. They come out, which I was always I didn't like that. I didn't like coaches coming out especially after I struck 2 guys out. And all they came out to ask me, do you want to walk Miyazaki? It was Miyazaki. And I was like, well, I don't care. Yeah, fine, I'll walk him, So we put him on, and then the next guy grounds out to first. And that's the one where I'm running off the field just because the elation of just getting through it. I thought I was going to blow it for my team. I ended up getting out of it. Now I'm like, we better win this game right now because I can't throw another one. But as I go into the dugout, I realized that I'm the only one that is really left. We had used all of our 6th inning, 7th inning, 8th inning guy. So now we had starters. I think Takeda was in the bullpen and a few other guys. And it's like, you can't put those guys in a situation like it's a totally different feel. Like if you've never done it, good luck. And so I remember going in, getting my towel, wiping off my sweat, calming down. And I remember walking into the clubhouse. And as I passed Kudo-san, I said, I'm going one more. And he was just like, and Taka came in, my interpreter follows me. He goes, are you serious? You really want to go one more? And I'm like, I'm going one more. And, the rest is history. I got through that next inning pretty quick. I gave up a broken bat hit, but I got through it pretty quickly. And then we walked it off in the next inning. But that's probably the one game that I can replay almost every at bat and how it went. And it was just one of the greatest series, one of the greatest seasons as far as the team and how good we were.
2017年はサファテ投手とホークスにとって最高のシーズンの一つでした。それはファンである私たちの目から見ても明らかでした。しかしその陰で彼にとっては辛い年でもあったと言います。彼の最愛の妻は病気で肝細胞移植のためにアメリカに戻らなければなりませんでした。彼はどうにかアメリカに帰って家族のケアをしたいと考え、野球をやめる決断をしました。しかしその時、何かが彼の思いを日本に留めたんです。
In 2017, I told you it was the worst year. My wife is sick at home. My girls were there. I'm miserable. I want to retire. I want to quit. I remember telling myself and my wife, today is it. I'm going home. I'm retiring. I'm done. I'm going to go to the clubhouse. I'm going to tell them. And I remember getting there and reaching into my locker. I grabbed a shirt, and when I put it on, I had a mirror in my locker, and I looked at it, and it was Joshua 1:9. And it says, have I not commanded you? Do not be scared. Do not be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And I started crying right there in the clubhouse. And my teammates at this point, Yuito Mori is sitting next to me. And I just got to the field. No one knew what was going on. Yes, they knew Jada was sick. They knew that there were things back home. They knew I was alone there. But no one understood the deep sorrow I felt every day, how miserable I was, that I wanted to go home. And that verse kind of got me to where, like, God's with me. Like, he doesn't think, he's not away from me. He knows what's going on. He knew this was going to happen. And that verse it just brought me to tears, and it kind of helped solidify what God was doing with me there, that he was with me, and that I didn't have to be scared or fear or be dismayed. And that it was just a powerful moment that I'll never forget.
想像してみてください。もし あの時聖書の言葉が書かれた T シャツがなかったとしたら、サファテ投手は野球をやめていたかもしれません。それだけでなくシーズン MVP はなかったですし、また2017年にホークスが日本シリーズを制覇することもなかったかもしれません。本当に不思議なことがありました。では今日のスポーツコアの最後の質問として、私たちはサファテ投手に彼にとって野球のコア、大事なことは何であるかを伺いました。
For me, the core of baseball is you're a family. The core is that every one of you has a responsibility, and if one of you don't do your required responsibility, it doesn't work right. It's the biggest game of being held accountable to your teammates, to the guys that it's not like you show up once a week and you play one game like football, or you're traveling, you play 3 games a week like basketball. You're there every day, and you're there for 10 hours some days. And so you're like brothers. It really is. I spent more time in Japan at the field than I did in my house in Arizona over the 11-year period. I spent more time with my teammates than I did with my own wife and my children. So you build this core nucleus of this family structure, holding each other accountable. For me, the core, the value of baseball is family, and you have to treat it as that. And that's how you hold yourself accountable, because you don't want to let other people down. It's not an individual sport. Yes, you have to do an individual thing, but without the people behind me, the 8 people behind me on the field, without my catcher, I can't do any of that on the field. Without the scouting reports of the people in the clubhouse, without my trainers giving me my massage and keeping me healthy, it all works. If one's off, everything's going to be off. And I thought that's probably the most unique thing about baseball is we spend so much time together that no one realizes it. And that is your family, and you are family. And that is the core.
「お互いを支え合う、だから野球は家族なんだ」というその言葉、サファテ投手の人柄を表しているなというふうに思います。サファテ投手はインタビューの中でまだまだたくさんのことを話してくださっています。なので次回もサファテ投手のインタビューをお届けしたいと思います。ぜひ次回もお楽しみに。チャンネル登録もよろしくお願いします。それではまた。